Hey guys, Cameron here with Emerson Property Management. Every week I bring you tools, tactics, strategies, lessons I've learned, things that helped me build up a sizable loan portfolio in about 2 years and now manage that portfolio. Today, guys, I want to talk to you about NARPM. So if you guys are ever looking to hire a property manager and want to know what kind of separates normal or average day folks who think they can do property management versus the people that actually do property management, one of those requirements is NARPM, NARPM designation, and that's the National Association of Residential Property Managers. We had to come up with an acronym because that name is a mouthful. So NARPM, if you hear NARPM or see NARPM, that's what that means. And if you have a property manager that is a member of NARPM and held to the NARPM Code of Ethics, they're just above the standard, the normal standards that there are. Some states do not require licensing and whatnot. So I just want to cover a little bit of NARPM. I'm just going to pick a couple highlights of the Code of Ethics, and just so you guys are aware, there's like 12 or 13 different articles, I think, and you don't have to go through everything. I just want to note a couple here that I think are important, especially if you're looking to hire a property manager. This is something you should look at, even if you're not looking to hire a property manager. These should be things that you should already be doing. It wasn't a big deal for us to be held to the NARPM standard because we already did the majority of it. Like, this isn't anything new to us. So again, NARPM, I'll put a link down in the notes or whatever below, so you guys can just click on that and go straight to the website and you can read it for yourself. If you're really interested and want some more details, I'm just going to pick out a couple things and talk you through those real quick. So Code of Ethics, again, on the NARPM page. The first one I want to talk about is Article 1, the responsibility to protect the public. So that's, there's like half a dozen things on each article. I'm just going to cover one or two different things. The first one, the property manager shall comply with all relevant local and state ordinances regarding the real estate law, licensing, insurance, and banking. So why is this one so important? Well, y'all, there are people out there who have a truck and they drive around and they pick up rent checks and they have no licenses. They have no sort of banking and trust accounting that they do. They just go around and they operate. They might fix this, they might fix that. They might not respond to a call. They might have a 24-hour emergency line. They might not. They might not even know. They might not have MLS access. They might just be sticking a sign in the yard. There could be a lot of things that they're doing that aren't right, for lack of a better term. What happens if the house burns down and that person was inspecting the property? What happens if there's a discrimination suit and that person doesn't have any sort of insurance and it comes back on you? What happens with if a tenant security deposit just goes poof and you don't know where it was at? That stuff comes up. You would be surprised. So you've got to be cognizant of dealing with these folks that don't have any licensing and requirements, and they just go out and do property management. And one thing I really don't like about property management that I wish was something that we could cure, and there's no way to do it, but there's no immediate feedback. So what does that mean? If I'm a very shitty property manager, you are not going to know until 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, 2 years. You're not going to know for several months because I'm not going to get a good tenant. Some things are going to come up that are going to continue to build. I'm not taking care of the property. If I don't clean the property or inspect it and let a water leak go for a little while, you're not going to notice for a month or 2 or 3. But 6, 8, 9, 12 months later, when you get into a property and it's totally destroyed or all your subfloors rotten or whatever, that's when you notice it. Or you got a tenant in there and they're not doing the eviction process right, or you got a security deposit disposition and that's not done properly. Security deposits aren't separate. You don't even know where that is because they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's the shit that comes up and bites you in the rear end. So make sure they don't have to be NARPM, but this is something that if you're managing your own properties, you don't need to worry about any sort of licensing or requirements. You should kind of follow along with that and understand the Texas Property Code because that will get you in a bind. But as far as when you manage other people's properties, you have to have licensing and insurance. So that's one. The second one I want to talk about. The property manager shall not, this is in Article 1 as well, the property manager shall not reveal confidential information to clients, blah, 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 blah. It goes on all this stuff. So there are companies that will go out there and they will sell, just like Facebook, Google, all of them sell your data to other people and make money off of your activity, where you shop, blah, blah, blah. Some property management companies do that as well. So they get a couple dozen owners, they have a certain profile, they market and shop your information out to other folks. So just be cognizant that we never share any of your confidential information, banking or otherwise with other individuals. We keep that in-house with us. So that's something too from an anonymity perspective. When you're maybe buying a property in an LLC and want to keep your personal assets separate, you know, if your name and information gets out, you know, and is shared freely, that could kind of breach that anonymity piece. Okay, that's one. Okay, now I'm going to go to Article 3, the responsibility to the client. The property manager shall accept no commissions, rebates, profits, discounts, or any other benefit which has not been fully disclosed and approved by the client. So that's one. There's another one here. Guys, one thing that we do, and all NARPM managers have to do this, is we show you exactly the bills and invoices that we receive from our vendors. There are people that get kind of little back-end kickbacks and things and rebates. Oh yeah, that plumber, it took them, you know, it was a $200 bill, but it was really $100 and they're pocketing the other $100. So you got to be cognizant of that. That can happen with some of those folks that aren't operating per an ethical standard. Or they get a kickback, it's really $100, the bill says $200, and $100 of that's going back in the property manager's pocket. So be careful with a property manager or a maintenance person that also handles billings and cutting checks. There's got to be some sort of separation and checks and balances there. You don't want them creating, you know, mythical vendors and paying that, and it's really just going right back into their pocket. Be careful of that, guys. That can come up and bite you in the rear end. So we don't get any kickbacks or anything that that y'all don't know about, and we don't really do that with anybody. We just tell them to offer us a discount in the services, which we pass along to you guys. We do not get any rebates or kickbacks at the end of the year. And then the other one, this is still Article 3. The property manager shall not mislead a potential client about the rental market value of a property in an attempt to secure the listing. So I don't know how many times I've heard or had somebody say, hey, Cameron, would you look at this listing for me and see what you think it'll rent at? And I give them the rent rate. I don't know what they've been told. I don't really, doesn't change my my analysis by any stretch. And then, oh man, I was really hoping to get $2,500 out of that. Well, the market says $2,000. You want to let it go on vacancy? I've got another video on vacancy. I don't know where it is, but it's very important. You guys understand the math behind that. So that is a tactic, a bait and switch, as they call it. Oh man, I'm going to get you $2,500. The other property manager told you $2,000. Oh buddy, I'll get you $2,500. Don't worry about that. I can guarantee that. Well, one, you can't guarantee a rent rate, and two, if the market's telling you $2,000, you're trying to get $2,500, you're going to see vacancy increase, or you're not going to get a very good client, because the tenant that's going to be in there is not going to. Your client pool is going to be so small that the only people that would take that would either be totally uneducated about what the other rentals are in the market, or their profile, and i.e. like evictions, broken leases, whatever their tenant profile is, would be so bad that they would be willing to pay $500 more for that listing. So we never promise a rental rate to anybody. What I always tell owners, and what I would tell anybody else, is please look at the market as, when we list it, we let the market tell us. We look at that data and respond to it. So we list the property, we pull comps, which are always in the past. It might be the past month, 2 months, 6 months, year, depending upon the activity in the area. And we make our best judgment based on that. Similar size, square footage, all that stuff. We pull that CMA together, the comparative market analysis, and say, this is what we think your property will rent for. Well, then we say, okay, let's list it at this price. Whatever happens, that, again, this was the data from month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. Interest rates are changing like this at the time of this recording. Things are moving. The market is dynamic. So I can't tell you if that rate is too high or too low based on the current market conditions. I know when you want to list at $500 over market, that is way too much, but we let the market respond. Owner wants to list a property at $2,500, it's $2,000. That's fine. Let's do it. We list it. A week comes by, no activity whatsoever. What do you think we should do? Drop the price. So now, if we listed it at $2,000 and we have, 25, 30 leads the first day and 3 or 4 showings, people throwing in applications left and right, well, then we say, okay, we undershot the market a little bit. We'll be really, really picky with our tenant because we got a great tenant pool to select from. But next time we go into this with this property next year, we should definitely be pushing rents a little bit more. So those are the only couple I wanted to talk through with y'all. I'm gonna put the link to the NARPM Standard Code of Ethics down here somewhere. You guys visit that, look at it. You'll actually be able to see where the property managers, the NARPM property managers are in Houston or whatever area. It's a national association. So it's all over the country. So if you're in Arizona or you invest in Arizona, you guys can still look at that and see and find a NARPM property manager in the area you're investing. I hope that was helpful. If it was, let me know. If it wasn't, let me know. And I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch y'all next week. Thanks.